Alright, hello guys. In this video, we're going to be once again talking about another major Arctic invasion. This one's actually going to be for the beginning of May, kind of the early April time frame. Now, before I get started with this video, though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter and join our exciting Facebook group, Weather Freaks. That's all going to be in the comment down below. Now, for today's comment of the day, I want to know, this time of year, do you look most forward to the hot and sunny weather, or do you look more forward to the stormy weather? Let me know in the comments down below. Give me a good reason, and I'll pick one of those for tomorrow's video. Let's get into this video though, and we're going to be taking a look at those temperature anomalies, and this is pretty much what the look is this morning. You can see we do have some below average temperatures for the Great Lakes and up through New England, as well as a bit of the mid-Atlantic, but really warm to maybe average across most of the other parts of the United States here. This is part of our big cool down that we've been talking about for weeks, but most of the video today, I'm going to be talking about a cool down that I haven't really talked about in prior videos. I know I update you guys a lot on the temperature pattern, so it does get kind of confusing, but this one is going to be entirely a new one for the end of April and through the beginning of May, like I said before. Let's go ahead and move on here, and this is going to be by Sunday, and you can see this is one of the cool downs that I actually talked about in the previous video, one of my previous videos. In the west, it's looking warm, and then in the east and more of the central United States, you can see that we're going to be dealing with a big cool down around April 26th. Some of those deeper blues indicating pretty far below normal temperatures. Now we're about to move on, and we're going to look at how that cool down progresses, and then we're going to take a look at our next big cool down, our major Arctic invasion here. Now, you might be wondering why I'm calling it an Arctic invasion, and it's because, well, this is very Arctic air. This air is actually coming up from the Arctic and being pushed down to the United States, and that's really what you look for to happen in the wintertime that causes average to below average temperatures, and that was bottled up in the Arctic all winter, obviously, because we were dealing with warmer than normal conditions pretty much throughout most of the United States, and that's because most of that cold air was bottled up in the Arctic, and now it's finally unleashing all of that cold air onto us. It's a little too late, obviously, for that to have major implications, but it still creates much colder than normal conditions here in the United States. And you can see by Monday, the 27th here, that most of that cool down is going to be located over the eastern United States, or the eastern quarter of the United States. Let's take it to Wednesday, April 29th, and you can see that that cool down kind of comes to an end in the south, especially, where it becomes more closer to normal and kind of scattered in. And then if you look up further north, we do have some of the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, and then even New England still dealing with some colder than normal conditions. And this is from a different cool down, and this one actually, again, reaches the very eastern United States as a whole. That's not even our major Arctic invasion yet. Even though that one's pretty major as far as a cool down is concerned, it actually looks pretty far below normal, indicated by those purples and pinks. But we're about to see it get even more major as we move on. We're going to move on towards Friday, May 1st, and what we're going to see is another cool down start to come in, and that's going to be really our next big major Arctic outbreak here. Now you can see this is actually the end of our other cool down here in the eastern United States. It's still a little bit colder than normal by Friday, May 1st, but look up to Canada, up there north of Montana, and you can see that there is some cold air starting to pour down into the United States again. And this one actually looks very major, in my opinion, from what I can see in a very medium to long range outlook. I'm quite confident that the beginning of May, the first week at least, looks to be quite cool. Let's go ahead and take it to May 3rd, and you can see that it very slowly but surely actually makes its way south. And what's interesting is this actually looks like a pretty zonal pattern, which means it's pretty just west to east, colder in the north, warmer in the south here. The warm in the southeast is trying to fight back and push back north. This is a pretty far out outlook, so I don't know how accurate this will be as far as the minor details such as that. I'm more confident that there will be a cool down of some nature, rather than, you know, the very specifics like, oh, there will be a Gulf area of warmer than normal conditions that pushes a little bit further north into Kansas and Missouri. That's a little bit specific, but what we do know is there is a pretty massive Arctic outbreak that looks to occur here. Let's take it to May 4th. This is going to be a Monday, and you can see that that cool down starts to push down even further by this point. Montana and the Dakotas especially. Seeing those purples indicating the far below normal temperatures there. And let's take it one day further to May 5th here, and you can see that we have actually some pretty potent cool downs here occurring for the Midwest, and then also there for the eastern United States, or I guess I should say cool down, because it actually is just one air mass there. Let's take it to Tuesday, and you can see it slowly but surely pushes its way south, and it's actually quite major and potent because it's taking up a very large swath with pretty moderately to well below average temperatures there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to where it's actually going to become those purples and pinks. It's going to become more and more potent, and it's going to reach further and further south by Wednesday, May 6th. Keep in mind this is very long range by this point, but we are moderately confident because this is the pattern we've been in, and I think the trend is going to continue throughout the next few weeks at least. Now, an interesting thing to note is that I think that the deep south and the southeast are going to continue to see severe weather and tornado outbreaks like we've seen in the past few weeks. We're dealing with our third one this month so far, today actually, and I think these are going to continue as long as these cooldowns continue because that's what's been the driving force behind these big severe weather events. I think that this is going to continue as long as the cooldowns continue. Again, like I said, once we see a warmer pattern set in and there's less cooldowns coming through, we're going to see the severe weather kind of start to taper off a little bit. And if the cooldowns become more for the western and central United States, then look for the severe weather to also follow that westward. That's going to be kind of what's interesting to see as we move towards May and June. I want to see how that plays out. But as you can see on this frame, this is again Wednesday, May 6th. We have those purples and pinks showing up, indicating areas of well below normal temperatures here. Let's go ahead and look at NOAA's 6 to 10 day outlook, and you can see they're expecting warmer than normal conditions for the western United States and colder than normal conditions there for the eastern United States. That's going to be from April 28th through May 2nd, but you can see it's pretty, I guess, exclusive for the eastern third of the United States there, I would say. This is going to be interesting because I think this is going to lead to more severe weather along Missouri, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida there, just like we've seen before. I think that the severe weather might slow down a little bit for Kansas and Oklahoma and Texas if we see this pan out, because that's kind of where the cold and the warm meet mostly. So that's usually what you would see happen. Then by this frame, you can see this is the 8 to 14 day outlook, April 30th through May 6th. And we would see, I think a lot of the severe weather occur for Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina if this one was to pan out exactly how they're saying. But this one's a little bit longer range, and we usually see these ones a little less accurate than the 6 to 10 day outlooks. Now we're going to move on, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to talk about that severe weather risk today. I'm going to just go over the general risks and just talk a little bit about that for the last couple of minutes of this video. Now here's your categorical outlook, and if you watched yesterday's video, you would have known that this enhanced risk was much bigger as of yesterday. I think what happened is there's a lot more showers in the northern portions of these southeast states than what they expected, and also it's been much cooler than what they expected as well, and that's really led to a diminished risk for severe weather in the northern portion of these states. And really the most risk is for southern Alabama at this point, southern Georgia, and northern Florida, where there still is a pretty good chance for tornadoes and a tornado outbreak. We saw many tornadoes yesterday. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Let's go ahead and talk about that tornado categorical risk, though, here. And you can see that we actually have still a 10% risk in that yellow with the hatched region, indicating an area where they expect the potential for large damaging tornadoes, EF2s to EF5s. There's a pretty good chance that some of those occur. So it's going to be a pretty big tornado day. Once again, we're already seeing that begin as I'm speaking. Let's go ahead and look at those tornadoes yesterday. And as you can see, we had many tornadoes for Oklahoma, many tornadoes for Texas, and a few for Louisiana and Mississippi as well. I believe there was more in Texas than Oklahoma, actually, but there was still a ton for Oklahoma. Big tornado outbreak day that day. We had 27 confirmed tornadoes so far. Usually we see those trickle in for the coming days. We will get more confirmed reports of those tornadoes. And this brings up an interesting point that I wanted to mention. Back maybe 1 or 2 months ago, I made a forecast that this tornado season could be historic. And I got a lot of, negative feedback for that video. A lot of people saying, you can't say that, you can't predict that, that's not going to happen. Well, we're definitely on pace for a potentially historic top 5 tornado season. That was definitely one of my best forecasts of all time. I got incredible amounts of negative feedback from that one. I remember tons of people just saying it was ridiculous for me to say that. But sure enough, that has really, really panned out. And it just goes to show that a lot of my videos are based on science. I'm not just saying this stuff, guys. If I don't see something that's leading me to believe, in something, I'm not going to make a video about it. There is reasons behind all of my videos. Obviously, that's how I do it. A lot of people doubt that, though. Anyway, for today's comment of the day, sorry for the little bit of rant there. I asked you guys sunsets or sunrises. Brady Gleason, sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, said sunset because I'm actually awake to see it. And that comment definitely made me laugh when I first saw it. That was a great comment. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share it with your friends, family, and social media. I will see you guys in the next video.